Hi everyone, I'm Julie and I'm here to show you how to reupholster your kitchen chairs. Mine are actually very disgusting, and so I decided to um, change out the fabric, and it's really simple, so I'm going to show you how, and then you'll be able to do it. So I have here a bunch of tools that you'll need. The electric drill is not something you have to have, but I like using it when I'm removing the screws. But when you're putting the screws back in, it's a lot better to do it by hand so you don't strip the hole because it is made out of wood. So I also have the orange scissors are fabric scissors, so they'll be able to cut fabric really well. I have my staple gun, and this is just a regular staple gun from Home Depot. And then I got some extra staples just in case, and then I have a screwdriver with different tips depending on what you need to use for your screws. So mine looks like it's a Phillips screw. So there's one on every side, so there's 4 screws, and you just remove all of those and take the top off. So here's the fabric I bought. I have just the plain, it's decorator fabric, but it does look a little bit like muslin. So I think that it is fine for chairs, but like regular muslin would probably be too thin. And then I got this really cute fabric over here. It's I guess fawn skin, so like a baby deer. And I really liked it. You'll need this flathead screwdriver to get up under these staples, and you have to press really hard. And so of course when I was doing that, I don't know how, scraped my finger. I know I'm a klutz, this happens all the time. So what you do is just go all the way around, pull off each one, and pop it off. And you can tell, this is how like a whole piece of staple would look. If there's a piece broken off, it's not a big deal, but I try and get all the broken off pieces too. So just go around the whole thing and tear it all off. Sometimes if your fabric's really thick, you can kind of pull it off with your hand and the staples will pop off, but then you might have some staples flying around the carpet, and yeah, you don't want to step on those. So okay, I've loosened all the staples, and I'm just going to show you how you can just grab onto one of the staples and pull it off. And this one is still whole, so you got the whole piece. And just kind of like pull them out and squeeze tight. These are called needle nose pliers. So I'm just going to keep going around and moving all of these out. Okay, I just finished removing all the the staples. You peel away the fabric, and you can see underneath is like this ugly green fabric that came with the chairs. So now I've got my cushion. I took the old fabric off, and if you wanted, you could just use the old cushion. Sometimes you don't really know what's under it, but I like my cute new fabric, so I'm gonna put it out on this giant piece of fabric, and then I'm turning it sideways so that I can fit 2 on this piece of fabric, because the home decor fabric is a lot wider than just a regular type of fabric. So by turning it this way, the cushion is wider than it is longer, so I can fit 2 pieces pretty comfortably and hopefully have enough for 6 cushions. So I guess we'll find out. Here's one of my old chairs that I had redone, and I had put like a thin plastic on it that you can also get at the fabric store, and my kids were furious with me and said they weren't babies anymore, but it actually looks like this is the only clean cushion because it's the only one that had the fabric remaining. But it does sometimes tear, and you can see like there's a little tear right there. After a little while, I have 3 boys, so they're a little rough on furniture. Okay, I just measured my fabric, and then I took the cushion and kind of eyeballed it to see if it would be enough fabric. And then since I have 2 yards, I folded it into 3 so that I could have 6 equal pieces, and it's gonna be pretty tight. So what I should have done was probably buy 2.5 yards, but I was being cheap and I didn't want to buy that much. So anyway, hopefully it'll work and we'll have enough space, but for now I'm gonna try it with 2 yards and see how it goes. Okay, I just stapled 4 different times on the fabric. So I did 1 in this bottom part, then I did 1 on the top, and then 1 on each side. And when you're stapling it, you want to pull the fabric kind of tight. So I'm only putting 4, and then I just want to like turn the cushion over and look at it, make sure everything looks fine. If you have a pattern with like lines or rows, sometimes you got to be careful with making sure that it's perpendicular to the lines of your cushion. So going on to the next step. Okay, so after you've done 4 staples on all the sides, then I go to the corners and I do a corner on each side. So there's 4 corners that are stapled, and then you have to pull them really tight so that they're not bunched up on the other side. And then after I did the 4 corners, I took this one side and I pulled it really tight, and see how I like folded it and then folded it again and then stapled it, because the corners are real tricky. You gotta have like, see how if I just fold it like this, you get like it's kind of bunched right there. So you almost have to like fold it twice and then again so that it gets tighter, and you can even pull harder so that it looks better. But you just kind of have to play around with it, so you want the fabric to lay as flat as possible. So here's the finished cushion with all the staples in, and it depends on your preference, but I like putting a lot of staples because you want the fabric to be smooth on the edges. Also, all this extra fabric like this, you can just cut that off if you want. It's not really going to matter because nobody will ever see the bottom of the chair. And you turn it over, and you can see like how you did a couple little folds on each corner. The next step we're going to do is get the 4 screws, and we're going to screw them back onto the chair. So you just have to make sure you know where the actual screw holes are. In this case, I have this one right here. Get really close so you can see it. If your fabric is covering it, then either you can trim it away, or what I did is I just kind of like put a little cut on the side because there's a hole right there. So you just want to make sure, because if it's too thick, it's hard to get the little screw in there. Same with over here, there's a little hole. So I'm going to start screwing in the cushion. Here's the finished chair. I think it looks amazing. I just screwed in the nails, or the screws, and I think it looks really good. Of course my chair is dirty and I need to clean that up, but the cushion itself looks great. So in the future I would actually buy 2.5 yards to fit all of these. And again, I wouldn't know how big your chair cushion is, so you'll have to judge that based on whatever cushions you're going to replace. But one thing you could do is get the fabric and take it off of the chair, or even just take off the cushion of the chair and bring it with you when you go to the store. And usually Joann's or Hobby Lobby, they can help you and let you know if it's going to be enough fabric. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.